Now I've got here 8 problems that are pretty evil, so if you know how to solve these, you're going to do really well in the quiz. The problems that are going to be on the quiz are not going to be this difficult, but if you just practice a few of these, or maybe even all of them, and you're starting to get them correct, then you're beginning to know the concept really well. So why don't you pause this and try some of these, and I'm going to go ahead and solve them on this video. Okay, we're going to start with number 15 and 16, which are very similar, and we're going to handle the parentheses first, just like the order of operations. And sorry, I'm speaking a little loudly because I have some students in my room practicing math, which you should be doing. So 2 to the negative 3, b to the negative 3, a to the negative 12, we multiply because we're doing powers, raised by powers, b and a to the 4. And now we're going to simplify, we're going to find the inverse of our negatives, so we're going to switch levels of these and make them positive. So we've got b, a to the 4th, over 2 cubed, b to the 3rd, a to the 12, and now we're going to continue simplifying. We've got 4 a's on the top, so we're going to take 4 a's away here, we're going to take 4 a's away here and make it 8, and we're going to take 1 b away here, we're going to take 1 b away here and make it 2. We're going to have a 1 at the top. When they cancel, they just divide by each other, and there's a 1 remaining. So we've got 1 over 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And a to the 8, I'm going to write it alphabetically, and then it's b to the 1, which is the same as, oh sorry, b to the 2. Joaquin, please stop yelling, okay? Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to solve the parentheses here, and I'm always going to do the parentheses first, so there's an invisible 1 here, so I've got 2 to the negative 3, 0 times negative 3 is 0, so it's just x to the 0, 2 to the times the negative 3 is y to the negative 6, times 2x to the 3rd. I'm going to write it alphabetically, I don't know why they wrote the problem like that. So now we're going to take, with all our negatives, we're going to switch levels and make it positive, and we're going to multiply these out. So I'm going to make a line here. We're going to move this down and make it positive. 2 to the 3rd. X to the 0 is just 1. So we can essentially cancel that out. I'm going to move this down and make it y to the positive 6. Y to the positive 6. And all of these are positive, so we can leave them at the top. Okay, so we're almost done. Remember, this is 2 to the 1. So I'm going to take away 1, 2. I'm going to take away 1, 2 and change that 3 to a 2. So I've got x to the 3rd y over 2 squared, which is 4, y to the 6, and now take away 1y, take away 1y, so x to the 3rd over 4y to the 5. And there's the solution to that one. And again, these are difficult. These are harder than what you're going to be seeing on the quiz. This quiz. Here are a couple more, number 17 and 18, and I'm going to multiply these k's, so I get 2k to the 5, and I'm going to move this k to the negative 3 up to make it positive, so I've got k to the positive 3, and then when you multiply these, you just add them, so I've got 2k to the 8. And now always start with your parentheses. So we've got a power raised by a power, so x to the negative 12, x to the 4, over 2x to the negative 3. And we can approach this a couple different ways. The way I'm going to approach it is when you multiply exponents and your bases are the same, just add them. So we've got negative 12 plus negative 4. We've got x to the negative 8 over 2x to the negative 3. Well, now I'm going to bring this down and make it positive. We've got a 1 at the top, so 2x to the negative 3, x to the 8, and I've got 1 over, now when you multiply exponents, just add them, negative 3 plus 8 is 5, so 2x to the 5. This one, I think we're seeing a pattern here. Always start with your parentheses, so I'm going to go do the 2x and raise them each to the 4, so we've got 2 to the negative 4, x to the negative 4. And I've got x to the negative 1 times x, there's no exponent, so it's 1. Now, when you multiply exponents, you just add them. What's negative 1 plus 1? It's 0. And 2 to the negative 4, we're going to move that down and make it a positive. We're going to move the x to the negative 4 down and make it positive. We're going to be left with the 1 in the numerator because there's nothing up there. So we've got 2 to the 4 which was this, and then the x to the negative 4. We move it down to make it x to the 4, which is this. So we've got 1 over 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 16. When you multiply exponents and their bases are the same, you just add them. 0 plus 4 is 4, x to the 4. Okay, that one got a little lengthy, and this one's going to be even lengthier, so I'm going to erase it. So please take note of the answer. Pause it maybe. Okay, that's gone. So let's go ahead and do number 20. And this one is getting pretty loud. Pretty long. I said loud because Joaquin, is that seriously your normal speaking voice? They're like, she's like 3 feet away from me. Okay, so I'm raising powers by powers because I'm trying to get this done before I leave today. So I've got 2 to the 3rd, x to the 9, z to the 6, over. Now, when you multiply exponents and their bases are the same, just add them. So 3 and negative 4, we've got x to the negative 1. Y to the 4, we multiply by nothing. And z to the 3rd times z to the 3rd, z to the 2nd times z to the 3rd is z to the 5th. We're almost done. We're going to move that up and make it positive. So we've got 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. X to the 9, x to the 1, z to the 6, over y to the 4, z to the 5, and we're going to cancel that and make it z to the 1. We only have 1 z left. Hi Audrey, x to the 9 times x to the 1 is x to the 10, so we've got 8x to the 10. Bye Matthew, see you tomorrow. Or see you Friday. Z over y to the 4, and there's that one. 2 more left. Ooh, I don't even want to touch these, but we have to finish it. All right, let's wrap this up. And again, I'm not going to give you something like this on the quiz, so don't worry. Don't worry if you feel a little overwhelmed. But I might give you an extra credit question to give you incentive to solve it. A trick we can do with multiplication is you can just go ahead and cancel it. Cancel these 2's right from the beginning, so we don't have to worry about them. And I would do it the long way, but I'm pressed for time. So 2 to the negative 4, p to the negative 4, m to the positive 4. Well, 0 times negative 4 is just 0, and q to the 0 is just 1, and 1 times this quantity is that quantity. So we can just forget about the q to the 0. Okay, so now we've got m to the negative 1, p to the 3rd, over p q squared, negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. So we've got 2 to the, let's back up a little. We've got 2 to the negative 4, which I'm going to move down and make it 2 to the positive 4. And we already established that this winds up being p to the negative 1. M to the 4 times m to the negative 1 is m to the 3rd. And we've got p q squared down here. We have a negative exponent, which we're going to move down. We're going to make it positive. So now we've got m cubed over 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. We've got 2 p's. We've got a q squared. And we wind up with m to the 3rd over 16. P times itself is p squared. Or you can think about it this way. They both have a 1 exponent and add them up. P squared, q squared. And there is number 21. And I just worked up a sweat solving that one. So please take note of it because I'm going to erase it. And number 22, oh my gosh, actually this one's pretty easy because notice that we're raising all of this whole quantity in your numerator, we're raising it, and I'm thankful for this because I'm a little mathed out for today. We're raising it by the 0 power. That means they're all going to be to the to the 0 power, and anything to the 0 power is 1. So I'm just going to put a big fat 1 here in my numerator and not even worry about that. And on the bottom, actually I'm not going to do that. Let's back up. I'm just going to mentally know that I have a 1 in the numerator, and I'm going to move everything from the denominator that has negative exponents up. And then I'll be finished with this one, I believe. So let's move this h to the negative 3 up, and we're going to make it h to the positive 3. Move j to the negative 4 up and make it j to the positive 4. Move k to the negative 2 up and make it k to the positive 2. And guess what? Oh, the 2 remains down there, this guy. So we finished it. There it is.